Good evening, dear students. I am Dr. Rajen Kumar Singh, Associate Professor, Department of Geography, TDPG College, Jaunpur. Yesterday we talked about climate and climatic characteristics of India, and today we'll talk about Indian monsoon. Monsoon, as we know, is derived from Arabic word mausam. Mausam means seasonal variation in winds. Like in the context of India, we can say there is seasonal variation of wind because in summer season, wind is blowing from sea area, from Bay of Bengal to the Indian subcontinent, and in winter season, winds are blowing from land area towards sea area or Bay of Bengal. So there is seasonal variation of wind which is called monsoon system. The word monsoon is used to indicate the winds in the areas where they change their direction twice each year, or we can say is a flow pattern of the general atmospheric circulation over a wide geographical area. So here is the Indian subcontinent, and we can say that when in the summer season sun is just over Tropic of Cancer, there is high temperature here over this area and low temperature in the adjacent Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean. So there is high temperature, low pressure, and here low temperature and high pressure. So in the summer season, winds are blowing from sea area towards the land area. But in the winter, the picture is just opposite. In winters, sun came over Tropic of Capricorn. So here it is less temperature in the northern hemisphere, high temperature in the southern hemisphere when sun is on the Tropic of Capricorn. So when low temperature and high pressure, and here it is high temperature and low pressure. So winds blowing from high pressure to low pressure. So we can say that in winter, winds are blowing from high pressure to low pressure, from Indian subcontinent towards the Bay of Bengal. So there is no precipitation in winters except for the rainfall caused by Mediterranean temperate cyclones, which provide rainfall in the northern part of the country. So Indian monsoon is caused by, basically there are three theories, three concepts regarding the origin of Indian monsoon. First is thermal concept, second is dynamic concept, and the third one is the theory related to the jet stream. Now first have a look on the thermal concept. Thermal theory, this is the classical theory of Indian monsoon proposed and put forth by Edmund Halley in 1686. Monsoonal winds are land and sea breezes produced by unequal and differential heating of continental and oceanic areas. So we can say that as far as thermal concept is concerned, that is the same thing which I explained you earlier. Thermal concept is related to the same explanation which I had given you earlier, that in summers this area is warm and this is colder than this one. So here it is low pressure and here it is high pressure, and in summers wind blowing from high pressure to low pressure, and the resultant concept is rainfall over the Indian subcontinent. Thermal theory again says that when the sun goes to the south over the Tropic of Capricorn, then this area is much more warmer and this area is colder. So here it is high pressure and here it is low pressure, and winds blowing from high pressure to low pressure, and thus there is no rainfall over this area except for the rainfall brought down by the Mediterranean Sea. The second theory was propounded by Flohn in 1951, and this was dynamic concept. According to this theory, according to Flohn, monsoon is the seasonal migration of planetary winds and pressure belts following the sun. The annual migration of thermally produced planetary winds and pressure belts. So let us see the dynamic concept now. As according to Flohn, the sun is rotating on its axis and the movement is from west to east. And due to this movement of the earth on its axis and Farrell's law, the winds in the northern hemisphere, when we look forward, then in the northern hemisphere, winds move to the right, turns to the right, and in the southern hemisphere, winds turns to the left. This is according to Farrell's law. And due to this movement of earth on its axis from west to east, there are certain wind systems. These are planetary winds, like trade winds in the tropical areas, westerlies in the temperate areas, and polar winds in the polar areas. Meanwhile, on the same time, there are equatorial winds flowing from west to east, and these winds are called equatorial westerlies. Due to Coriolis force, these equatorial westerlies turns upwards towards the northern hemisphere, and these equatorial westerlies, which are moved towards northern hemisphere over the subcontinent of India, and these equatorial westerlies flow as southwest monsoon. This is the dynamic concept of monsoon. Here you can see this is equator and this is Tropic of Cancer, and these are the equatorial westerlies and trade winds moving towards ITCZ. There is shifting of ITCZ from equator to Tropic of Cancer, and these are the equatorial westerlies and trade winds of the southern hemisphere moving towards ITCZ. So this is the dynamic concept of monsoon. Here is a map. You can see what is the position in October and what is the position in April to September, and this is October to March. Here from October to March, this is northeast monsoon, winds blowing from land area to sea area, and therefore no rainfall towards Indian subcontinent. And here April to September, This is southwest monsoon, winds blowing from sea area, from Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal towards land area, and this southwest monsoon is providing rainfall over the Indian subcontinent. Now this is another map which is showing the onset of monsoon over India in 2019. Here we can see that monsoon strikes Kerala coast on 1st June. It is over Sri Lanka on 25th May, over Karnataka on 5th June, over Maharashtra it is on 10th June, and on 15th June it touches the coast of Gujarat and our own area, I mean Uttar Pradesh, on 15th of June. And Jammu, Kashmir, Punjab and Rajasthan, these are touched by monsoon on 1st of July. So this is the onset of monsoon in 2019. So apart from thermal concept and dynamic concept, there are some other modern theories which explain the complex system of Indian monsoon. There are many concepts regarding this. The most important one is jet stream. Another one is heating of Tibetan plateau, which is also helpful in mechanism of jet stream. Other concepts are El Nino and La Nina, how they affect the Indian monsoon, Hadley cell, southern oscillation, Indian Ocean dipole and Mozambique factors. There are many factors which affect the complex monsoon system of India. So now we'll have a short look on other important aspects of Indian monsoon. So here we see jet streams are high altitude geostrophic winds blowing parallel to equator, blowing between middle latitude at a high speed in a meandering course. Tibet Plateau, summertime heating of Tibetan highland plays a dominant role. It affects atmosphere in two ways, as a mechanical barrier and as a high level heat source. And then the third one is the Somali current. It is one of the few currents which reverses direction with the overlying wind. Summer flows northward, winter flows southward. So now let us come over jet stream. Jet stream is a fast moving wind in a narrow zone in the upper atmospheric portion. Westerly jet stream helps in arrival of monsoon cause and effect relation between withdrawal of westerly jet stream and shift of ITCZ. Easterly jet stream which helps in sudden outbreak of monsoon. Here we see the westerly jet stream and here it is easterly jet stream. So this is the map of Indian subcontinent and here we can explain the mechanism of jet stream. So first let's discuss something important about jet stream. Jet stream are a fast blowing wind system which develops due to the convergence of cold front and warm front. When two wind systems of opposite nature meet or converge, then this energy produced by this collision creates a wind system. So basically there are 4 jet streams over the entire globe, and 2 in the northern hemisphere and 2 in the southern hemisphere. One is tropical jet stream in the northern hemisphere and another is polar jet stream in northern hemisphere. In the same way, there are two jet streams in the southern hemisphere also. One is tropical jet stream in southern hemisphere, and the second one is polar jet stream in the southern hemisphere. Jet stream flow at the average speed of 110 miles to 250 miles. Their speed depends upon the energy produced by the convergence of two different fronts. It blows around the altitude of 5 miles to 12 miles, and in the troposphere it affects the movement of plane. When the planes flow with the wind system of jet stream, then it crosses its distance much earlier. But when the aeroplane goes against the wind system of jet stream, then it takes much more time to reach its destination. So just have a look over the Indian subcontinent, and this is the portion in dark shade. It is Himalayas and Tibet Plateau, and here it is Kunlun and Pamir. And jet stream move in a parabolic way from west to east. In the winter season, the jet stream strike in the southern area of Himalayas, southern part of Himalayas. And when it strikes here, it moves the wind system, it strikes in Himalayas, and the winds move like clockwise. So clockwise movement of the wind is which creates high pressure in the center. So in winters, the sun is on Tropic of Capricorn, so already there is low temperature at the surface of northern India, and in the upper area, in the upper atmospheric area, the winds are moving, the jet stream is moving in a clockwise pattern, so it creates high pressure. So now it is due to cold temperature, it is high pressure over the northern Indian territory, and due to movement of jet stream clockwise after colliding with this plateau and Himalayan area on the upper air circulation, it is creating high pressure. So when it is high pressure on the ground and high pressure on the upper atmospheric portion, there is immense stable condition over the northern India. So this create very stable condition, atmospheric condition, which is also responsible for pollution over the Delhi and surrounding areas, which we hear every year that now the winds have become toxic and all that, and due to burning of agricultural remains in Punjab and Haryana and all that. So it creates very stable atmosphere over the northern part of India. Things start to change when we come to the summer season. In the last week of May, there is intense heating of Tibetan Plateau, and Tibetan Plateau start working as a thermal engine, and now with the sun moving towards Tropic of Cancer, so the whole wind system start moving towards north. Like trade winds, there is shifting of trade winds belt, there is shifting of westerlies belt. So here the jet stream also move towards north with the movement of the sun towards the north. So now after shifting, jet stream starts to collide here, and now when it collides on the northern part of Himalayas, the wind system moves at anti-clockwise. So it creates low pressure in the upper atmosphere. So by the last week of May, it is due to heating of Tibet plateau, it is low pressure on the ground area but high pressure in the upper atmospheric area, which doesn't allow the winds to rise from the Tibet plateau. But in the first week of June, this jet stream pattern, when the wind collide here and it moves in anti-clockwise, then it creates low pressure on the upper atmosphere also. So now there is low pressure over the Tibetan plateau and low pressure in the upper atmospheric circulation. So the winds now ascends in a trimeridian circulation. So now winds ascends here, descends in the ocean area in trimeridian circulation, in which there are formation of cells. So here a cell is formed when the wind system ascends here, descends in the Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean area, and then moves towards the northern part of the country as southwest monsoon. So this provides rainfall and helps in the mechanism of monsoon. Hope you have got the point. So here are the types of jet stream on the basis of locational aspects. Jet stream are divided into 5 types. Polar front jet streams. Polar front jet streams are formed above the convergence zones 40 to 60 latitudes of the surface polar cold air mass and tropical warm air mass. Here cold air mass and warm air mass collides near 40 to 60 degree north latitude. The thermal gradient is steepened because of convergence of 2 contrasting air masses. These move in easterly direction but are irregular. And now subtropical westerly jet stream. Subtropical westerly jet stream move in the upper troposphere to the north of subtropical surface high pressure belt at the poleward limit of the Hadley cell in both the hemispheres above 30 to 35 degree latitudes. Their circulation is from west to east in more regular manner than the polar front jet streams. So we can say that subtropical jet streams are more regular as compared to polar jet streams. And polar jet streams are also flow in a more fast way. The third is tropical jet stream. Tropical easterly jet stream develop in the upper troposphere above surface easterly trade winds over India and Africa during summer season due to intense heating of Tibet plateau and play important role in the mechanism of Indian monsoon. Fourth one is the polar night jet streams. Polar night jet stream, also known as stratospheric subpolar jet stream, develop in winter season due to steep temperature gradient in the stratosphere around the poles at the height of 30 kilometers. These jet streams become very strong westerly circulation with high wind velocity during winters, but their velocity decreases during summers and the direction becomes easterly. So these are the jet stream, polar and subtropical jet stream, and the fifth one are local jet streams. Local jet streams are formed locally due to local thermal and dynamic conditions and have limited local importance. So here is again, we see in the polar region there is polar jet stream moving west to east. This is again in the temperate region, jet stream moving west to east. This is subtropical jet stream, and here again in southern hemisphere this is subtropical jet stream, and this is polar jet stream. And now the El Nino phenomena. This is an important phenomena which affects the mechanism of monsoon over the Indian subcontinent. Because El Nino is a warm wind system over the coastal areas of South America. El Nino is warm current which is flowing from north to south of the coastal region of South America. Here we can see that usually it is Peruvian cold current which is flowing from south to north along the coastal areas of Peru. So this cold current is responsible for cold temperature near the coastal areas, which causes high pressure along the coastal areas of South America. And this high pressure, due to this high pressure, there is very less rainfall in this region, and this is the main factor of Atacama Desert. But after a gap of 4 to 5 years, 6 years, there is El Nino flowing from north to south. And this is a warm current which warms the entire coastal areas of South America. And when there is this heats up this area, coastal areas, the El Nino currents. So when this area is heated, there is low pressure. So this is the change when El Nino affects this area and when the Peruvian cold current affects this area. So when there is high pressure due to Peruvian cold current, wind blows from this area to this area, from high pressure to low pressure, and this helps in the entire region near Australia and India, and which provides good rainfall, good monsoon over Indian subcontinent. But when El Nino factor comes into existence, then this creates low pressure due to high temperature, and now winds flowing from high pressure to low pressure. Here low pressure is caused because of warm and hot El Nino. So now this area is of low pressure, this is of high pressure, and now winds flowing from high pressure to low pressure. This causes rainfall in this region when El Nino is blowing, and when there is high pressure in this area and low pressure in this area, then it gives much rainfall here, and when there is low pressure here and high pressure here, then there is much more rainfall in this region, and this causes very less rainfall. So it is very popular saying that when El Nino is in effect, there is drought in Indian subcontinent or very less rainfall. This oscillation of pressure belts is also called southern oscillation, because when here it is high pressure due to Peruvian cold current, there is low pressure here, and when there is low pressure here due to El Nino hot current, then low pressure here and high pressure here. This change of the pressure system is called southern oscillation. This is La Nina This is normal course when Peruvian cold current is dominating this area. Then this is the La Nina system of winds, and the opposite of this system is El Nino. So here we can differentiate between El Nino and La Nina. El Nino is concerned the boy, La Nina is concerned the girl. El Nino is an irregular event of warming of Pacific waters, occurs at intervals of 2 to 7 years gap. What is the effect of El Nino on climate? The warm currents flowing towards the east displace the cooler currents to Oceania. Rainfall occurs over central and eastern Pacific and drought in Indonesia and Australia, at the same time in India also. So this is due to El Nino that there is very less rainfall in this region, in Oceania and in over the Indian subcontinent. And La Nina is a cold episode that usually follows the warm equatorial ridge cools between the coast of South America and Oceania. Currents contribute effects on climate is the currents contribute to form a warm pool in Oceania, increase rainfall in Asia and Australia, lower the temperature on the American coast and increase aridity. This was the same thing which I was explaining you, that due to La Nina, Peruvian cold current is existing on the Peruvian coast, which creates cold and less rainfall on near the southern America and more rainfall in Oceania and India. This was what I was telling you about southern oscillation. This interrelation of high and low pressure over the Pacific and the Indian Ocean is called southern oscillation. When the winter pressure is high over the Pacific Ocean and low over the Indian Ocean, the southwest monsoon in India tend to be stronger. In the reverse case, the monsoons are most likely to become weaker. Southern oscillation refers to the seesaw relationship of atmospheric pressure between Tahiti, South Pacific Island and Darwin, Australia, Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. This is a seesaw relationship of pressure over Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. This is the situation in summer and this is the situation in winter. And now there is again a recent concept of Indian dipole, which also affects the Indian monsoon. So what is Indian dipole? Let's see. The Indian Ocean dipole, which is also called IOD, is a coupled ocean atmospheric phenomena in the Indian Ocean. It is normally characterized by anomalous cooling of sea surface temperature in the southeastern equatorial Indian Ocean and anomalous warming of sea surface temperature in the western equatorial Indian Ocean. Associated with these changes, the normal convection situated over the easterly Indian Ocean warm pool shift to the west and brings heavy rainfall over the East Africa and severe droughts, forest fires over the Indonesian region. So here we can see that this is positive dipole mode when there is warm temperature over the Arabian Sea, and this is negative dipole mode when there is warm temperature over Bay of Bengal and Indian Ocean. This creates, in negative dipole mode, there is much more rainfall in this area in Bay of Bengal, and in positive dipole mode there is much more rainfall in Arabian Sea and Mozambique region. So this is positive dipole mode and this is negative dipole mode. So, dear students, this was all. Hope you have this information was uh, very important for you, and you have well acquainted with the mechanism of Indian monsoon. And if there are any queries, you can put over to me on my email ID, which is shared with you. Thank you. Goodbye.